In terms of the abundance of natural resources, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is regarded as the richest nation on Earth. There are an estimated $24 trillion worth of undeveloped raw mineral resources, Democratic Republic of Congo. These deposits contain significant amounts of cobalt, as well as the greatest coltan reserves in the world. In this episode, we will discuss detailed information on the discovery of more mineral resources by the Democratic Republic of Congo and the causes of the recent genocides in the country. The Democratic Republic of the Congo produces far more cobalt than its nearest rivals, Australia and Russia, together with about 2/3 of the global total. Chinese businesses possess 80% of the DRC's cobalt output, which is processed in China and sold to battery manufacturers worldwide. In addition, the nation accounts for 80% of the world's coltan production, which is used to produce phones, laptops and accessories for top companies. DR Congo is home to a sizable uranium resource as well. Actually, 80% of America's nuclear weapons were made using materials that were obtained from the Democratic Republic of the Congo for the atomic bombs used in World War II. In addition to being the third largest diamond-producing nation in the world after Botswana and Russia, the Democratic Republic of the Congo (DRC) is also one of the biggest producers of gold in the world, generating most of the gold that is smuggled out of Africa and transported to Dubai via Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda. One of the most sought-after types of gold is its handmade gold. The land is so rich that so many sources claim that one can dig out minerals with his bare hands. It is ranked the 80th largest oil producer, producing over 4.1% of its oil reserve per annum. On the mines, money can be made in every direction and in every nook. You also have these militias. They will kidnap, traffic, and even recruit children from different regions of the Democratic Republic of the Congo to work for them. They go by the name commandos at times. Kidnapped youngsters travel hundreds of miles and are sent underground to work in the copper and cobalt mines through militia networks, and these militia groups are funded by the few dollars that they scrape up. Up to 2,000 people die from cobalt mining accidents in the DRC every year. Miners also face sexual assault and forced evictions. Technically, under the law, there should not be artisanal mining taking place in any industrial mine, and yet, in some cases, predominantly artisanal mining is taking place, and the reason is to get a penny wage for their survival. Imagine living in a region of the world where millions of people, living on a meager ration of $1 or $2 a day, are so impoverished that they will accept nearly any kind of work arrangement in order to survive. Put them in a tight pit, stuff them in there with 10,000 other people, give them a few bucks, and they will work for nearly no pay for thousands of tons of cobalt produced annually. Therefore, even though it's illegal, it still occurs. The exploitation of Congolese people has claimed millions of lives. Every hour there are 48 women sexually assaulted, 6 million Congolese have lost their lives in the past decade, and millions more have been displaced. How did it start? China cornered the global cobalt market before anyone knew what was happening. It goes back to the year 2009 under the previous president in DR Congo, Joseph Kabila. He signed a deal with the Chinese government for access to mining concessions in exchange for development assistance, a commitment to build roads, and some public health clinics, schools, hospitals, things like that, and that opened the door. Before anyone knew what happened, Chinese companies had seized ownership of 15 of the 19 primary industrial copper-cobalt mining concessions down there. So they dominate mining excavation on the ground. And not just that, they dominate the chain all the way through to the battery level. They have about 70–80% of the refined cobalt market and probably half of the battery market. Top companies like Apple, Google, Dell, Microsoft have given equipment and financial aid to groups in Rwanda and Uganda to invade DR Congo cobalt-rich areas. And because of these invasions, Congolese people are either killed or enslaved and forced to mine cobalt, which include pregnant women and children. This and even more goes on in the mines. But since it happened in Africa, the media is not really being noisy about it. More than 40,000 child slaves in DR Congo are forced to work in cobalt mines so we can drive electric cars and use the latest mobile devices, especially iPhones among others. More than 5 million people have been killed and uncountable genocides are ongoing. More than 3 million people have been displaced from their homes. On December 16, 2019, The Guardian reported a lawsuit that Apple, Google, Dell, Microsoft and that alleges that all of these companies aided and abetted the mining companies that profited from the labor of children. The Democratic Republic of Congo should ideally be among the world's 3 largest economies. As of April 2024, the United States had a gross domestic product of nearly $29 trillion and China had a GDP of nearly $19 trillion. To become second, according to Forbes, data by the European Union shows that DRC has natural resources totaling more than $24 trillion. Had those resources been fully tapped, the African nation would have been among the world's topmost economies, as that figure would have comfortably placed DRC above China, in second place. The DRC is said to have no less than 100 minerals, with cobalt being the most important one. Statistical records show that in 2023, DRC produced 170,000 metric tons of cobalt, which is 70% of the world's output. Today, the nation is estimated to have 3.5 million metric tons of cobalt. In a world where batteries are increasingly needed to power electric vehicles, smartphones and computers, DRC's cobalt and lithium, which are the main materials for the products, have never been more important. These are DRC's major minerals: gold, copper, diamonds, lithium, coltan, uranium, tin, tungsten, tantalum, zinc, manganese and nickel. From DRC. Despite its rich mineral reserves, UNData shows that the Democratic Republic of Congo ranks 179 out of 191 in social-economic development, meaning there's a high number of poor people in the country. The World Bank says that as of 2023, 75 million people out of DRC's 100 million population live below $2 per day. Just over 2 million Congolese people are employed, with a majority of them earning not more than $3 daily. According to the International Trade Administration, there are about 3,000 mining permits granted to foreign investors, private and state-owned companies in DRC, and a majority of the mines are located in eastern and central DRC. Mining plays quite a substantial role in the financing of armed groups in DRC. According to the UN, there are more than 100 armed groups in DRC. Minerals remain DRC's leading export, with China, South Africa and Singapore taking up 73% of the export. But DRC, on the other hand, remains a major importer of European products. Records show that in 2023, the country imported goods worth $1.7 million, making DRC EU's third most important market. Stay tuned for the second part of the DR Congo Genocide.